Hi, I'm Marilyn San Clemente of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my creative playground. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to use up scraps of designer paper. So you'll probably recognize some of these. Some of these are several years old. I went through some of my old piles and I pulled out coordinating cardstock. And actually, some of these scraps have colors of cardstock in it that I have not seen in a long time. So they may not quite match, but I still think that they look good. I tried to pull some things that look good. Tonight, cards using scraps. And there's so many different designs. There's like a gazillion different designs that you can use for those. And as you can tell, this is an old set of scraps. This is probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old now. My friend Julie made this the other day, and she used the tree from the Merriest Trees, and then obviously some squares of red designer papers. This one I think was also about 4 or 5 years old. I remember this one because it had these really cute little candies and things in it. So, and she just used a regular greeting from our current greeting set and our tags for that card. And so I have 4 cards to show you tonight. And we'll see if I can keep this straight in my head as to what I planned for some of this. Okay. Oh my gosh. And I just cut out, I used the Merriest Trees, and I cut out a bunch of trees, and I cut out the little gold things to go with the trees. Okay. So let me do this. Okay, so I have a piece. This paper is a couple of years old, and this is back when we had that really deep burgundy color, which we don't have anymore. And I don't actually know if I have any of that. I think I got rid of most of that. So what I've done is I'm using Cherry Cobbler, which is our darkest red that we have right now. And then this kind of goes with Shaded Spruce. Shaded Spruce is a shade lighter than this. So we've got that, and I like this piece. So, okay, so I'm starting with a piece of Cherry Cobbler cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5. I'm putting a piece of basic white on the inside that is 4 inches by 5.25, and that's to write my notes or to stamp a message and then write a note. That's part of the card. And then on the outside, I've got this piece of the green, and I don't remember the name of this designer paper. All these designer papers that I had were in one of those plastic packages that has the top on it, and I had just thrown like all the Christmas designer paper together. So I went through today and I sorted it all out and tried to come up with coordinating patterns, and this is what I got. So for this particular card, I've got this piece of green with the pretty, oh my gosh, embossed copper in the background that we'll use. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make a piece that's going to go across this card like this, and then we're going to use scraps to fill that piece in. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach this to my base, and I want it to be on the diagonal like so. So now I'm just going to trim this down. I like this side too. That side's pretty. So I'm just going to trim that down. And I think if I had cut a diagonal piece first, that would have been really hard to line up. So I think it's easier to just put it on and then cut it. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to alternate strips. So I have cut these strips into 3/4 of an inch, and I don't know if I want to start in the middle. I think I do. I think I want to start in the middle with the red and then work out. So I'm going to do this, put some seal on there, start here, That's not quite the middle, but, and then I will, this may be a challenge trimming straight. This designer paper had several designs in it, or this is at least what I had left. We're starting with the red. Let's put that on, and then let's put one of the deer on. So we'll do this like that. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving just a little bit of a margin here. So there'll be a little bit of a gap between the pieces, and the white will show through. And the cutting might get tricky. May get a little bit tricky here. Okay, and I still have a few pieces left. Okay, so I'm going to cut this just a little bit larger. So that card piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut this at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. There we go. And I'm not sure why we don't have copper anymore, because it is certainly a pretty color. Perfect. There we go. Oh, I like that. I'm going to put, remember when we had green glitter paper? Isn't that gorgeous? And so I was going to put the tree, that's from the Merriest of Trees, that I cut that. And then Merriest of Trees has these ends of garland that you can cut. And it also has this really pretty star. So let's put that star up there. And I'm just going to pull this off for a minute, and we'll use, and for the garland, I used a piece, I had a piece left of the gold paper that had the adhesive back on it, and that paper is now gone. I'm out of the silver, but I still had some of the gold, so I'm just going to peel that off. But boy, does that make that easy. That red one. Okay, so I'm going to take a red scrap with the snowflakes, and I will put that on here, down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to go grab my messages. So I just had my 22nd anniversary as a Stampin' Up! Demo. So this is the Merriest Trees, and I think this is the one that I wanted. And this says, hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season. So I'm just going to put that there. And I will use shaded spruce because that goes with this green. There we go. There we go. And let's put that on a dimensional. Okay, card one. Card one is down. I remember this paper though. It had these really cool candies on it. There we go. Okay. Isn't that pretty? So I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I'm putting a piece of white on the inside. And then I have a piece of red for the outside. Let me set that aside for a minute and let's decorate this. So what I did with this was I took a couple of scraps of the candy and I'm going to cut these, straighten that out. And now I cut out a couple of circles for this. Oh, but okay, so now what I have is I have 2 circles that I cut using the deckled circles, basic white and a crumb cake that are cut the same size. So I'm trying to decide, and you know what, maybe what I'll do is I'll put this kind of behind this because it looks, yeah, that might be better. Because the red on red, you lose the effect of the circle. So I'm going to do this, put this behind a little bit like that. Let's do this. Oops. I'm going to put that off to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to put the white circle on the red. And do I want to center that or do I want that off center a little bit? I could probably even have that a little bit off center and then do something like this. That's cute. Not everything has to be completely centered all the time, right? Oops. And I'm going to put this on here. Let me put that up there so that's out of the way. I'll put this on here. And now this looks a little too bare right there. So I'm going to put a message. Oops, except it got cut off. Huh. It was stamped with stylish shapes. I had a whole pile of them that I had put out. Oh well. I need to clean off my table. We had a busy weekend this weekend. A few members of my team came over and we watched the new on stage event that Stampin' Up did, and we got a sneak peek of the January catalog and the upcoming celebration catalog. And then now let me put I'm going to add, I cut a bunch of snowflakes earlier. Let me peel the backing off of that. So we got a sneak peek of what's coming up for January for celebration, and with the new January catalog. I believe it's January to May. I'm going to put this over that. Okay. Okay, so there is card number 2 with the gingerbread house with that same darker paper. And I pulled out this old deer set that I found because it had some dies to cut out deer. Does anyone remember this? Called Dashing Deer. So what we're going to do with this one, I'm using again that same paper. And I thought that the shaded spruce looks good with that. And then I have this piece of white. So we're going to put the piece of white on the inside. Okay, and with this one, we're going to go across. I was going to put this in the middle and go across. So I want to cut these to 3 7/8, I believe. Okay, and they are a couple of different widths, but that's okay because we'll figure out as we go down what width they need to be. Okay, and I want to start with the red one in the middle. Okay, this time we're going to put the deer going the right way. There we go. Look at that, that's perfect. Perfect width. But it is upside down, so I'm going to put it that way. Okay. There we go. So now I'll put this on here. This would be another one that I could layer on copper foil, since this has the copper in it. So actually, I stamped these deer in pecan pie, but I could have stamped them in copper, the copper clay. That would have been pretty. Okay, so let's put, I'm not sure how to put these on. Because they're not going to, so I almost need, I need something in the middle to set them off. So, okay, I'm going to set that aside for a minute. And we're going to do our 4th card. And then I will come back and figure that out. So this one, I have the deer also. And for this one, I have a bunch of strips, and these are bright colors. So I used the Old Olive. It has real red, Old Olive, also some garden green in there, and then you can see there's some sprigs of pine boughs that are shaded spruce. And then there's also this piece, which is really cool. So I want to cut this white piece down just a little bit because I don't have too much of a margin there. Okay. And So these are cut to, I believe, 3/4. Yep, 3/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do kind of a herringbone pattern where everything's going to kind of meet in the middle and it's going to go up a little bit. So on my grid, so this is my center right here. So I'm going to line this up so it meets in the center. Yep, this one's going to go. There we go. Okay, I'm not angling them quite right. Okay, now they're meeting in the center. Oops, except that's not straight. Okay, there we go. So here we go. So do another one like that. Do one like this. We don't have this stripe in there yet. Here's another design. So I just took a whole bunch of things that kind of matched but didn't. Oh, and I love this plaid. Okay, so let me start by putting this down. So again, these are 3/4 inch strips that I did. Okay, I'm centering this on my piece. So this is my, this is my center right here. I should probably use a glue dot or something to. Okay. So that's going to go like that. This one will go. This one will go like this. Oops. Okay. This is a really good way. So what you want to do with this is, these aren't necessarily all from the same designer paper package, but you want to choose things that have all the same colors. So the color scheme in this is the real red, the old olive, and this shaded spruce. Oh, that's what I'm missing. Okay. Oops, I didn't do that quite right there. Sorry. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Let me pull that up because they need to go every other. Messing myself up. There we go. So this needs to go here. Oops. I can use this one. There we go. So these lines go down. There we go. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting a pattern together. So we'll call this the herringbone card. How's that? I don't know if I want that side or that. No, that's too white. Let's put this plaid in there. I love that plaid. There we go. Okay. Nope, it's got to go this way. Okay, and I'll fill in that last little piece in a second. Oops. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. The piece that we don't have. There we go. There we go. I feel like I should laminate this so that these can't come up. Where did I put mine? Here we go. Okay, so there's our old olive. Here's our real red. So we're going to put that on there. And we'll put this in here. Oops. And I think I cut the old olive. The old olive looks like it's 5 3/4. Now, oops. Okay, I have our deer again. We could put him on there. Okay, I'm thinking for each of these, we could do, let me grab, I've got my mini boss here. Nested Essentials. Here we go. I love this. This one or this one? I think this one for this. And that for that. And what colors should we do? Yeah. So let's put this on the middle. Or we could put it down here. That might be really cool. I'm going to use the Merry Christmas again. We'll silhouette this again. Okay, if we put that on there, with some dimensionals, and then we'll decorate it. I have some snowflakes that we can decorate that with. Okay, so when I was looking through things today, the older deer set, there were these really cool corner images. Isn't that neat? Look at that. What if I cut this? Okay. I like that. That adds just a little bit of bling to it. Okay. I like that. That's really pretty. Okay, so now let's do, so this one, I want to do something with the deer. So I'm thinking maybe the smaller deer, because the other deer's kind of large. And then I've got two of them, so let's put one on the outside and one on the inside. And then here, actually I want to put that up here more. Oh, I like that. Okay, so let's put that up there. It's going to go up there like that. Put this in the middle. Okay, and then let's do, we'll put our deer down here. Let's use the red poinsettia, the back side of that. And then let's put our other deer right over here. And then I did cut some more snowflakes, let's see, out of this white glimmer paper that we used to have. There, and then let's do these. I love these pearls, these iridescent pearls. I think these are my favorite embellishment because they go with everything. And you can color them too. You can use a blends and color them, or you could use a Sharpie and color them. Okay, so if you're ready to place an order tomorrow during the seasonal sale, ribbons are going to be 10% off. Inks, blends, markers are 15% off. And then designer papers and cardstock is 20% off. And that is tomorrow through Thursday. And if you're ready to place an order, if you use this host code, I will send you a package of embellishments for using the host code, because I like to share benefits with my customers. So here's our cards for tonight. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. So these two cards were made with the same scraps of designer paper. This one was made from a different designer paper, and then this was made from the one that had the gingerbread house. I think that was 2 or 3 years ago. When did that gingerbread house paper pumpkin come out? Because that's when that paper came out. And actually, I'm going to put some of these pearls on here. And I grabbed ribbon and I didn't use it. Oops, that one only has that one. Okay. Let me put one up here on that. Okay. So those are our cards for tonight. And remember the seasonal sale. And again, use the host code T7SJGMCN. And I will send you a little gift along with a Christmas card. So thank you so much for stopping by tonight. And sorry I ran a little over. I did do 4 cards tonight instead of my usual 2. But I had so many ideas that I saw that I wanted to try. So thank you, and have a great rest of the evening.